Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom in which we speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And today, the news was a big one. It comes out of Fabled Silver Gold, FCO on the TSX Venture Exchange. With us today, Peter Hawley, President CEO of the company. For those of you new to the story, that's going to be a lot of you. But by looking at the activity on the stock market, a lot of people are starting to find out about the company. What do? They control 100% of the Santa Maria gold and silver property in Mexico. It's a high-grade underground mine with a rich mining history. A silver equivalent 43101 of 3.2 million ounces indicated, 1.1 million inferred. So still early, but on its way. Its best historical intercept, 11 meters of 1,672 grams of silver. That's 1.6 kilos. And I know Peter loves kilos as a measurement. They just returned over 10 ounces of silver over 6 meters. 2 holes are pending. Let's talk about today's press release. Peter, welcome back.
Thanks, George, and great to be back. And well, yeah, we're pretty excited about this second hole. This is going to be good. Yeah.
Well, let me give everyone the second hole number. Fable drills 3.3 meters of 561, let's call it 560 grams per ton of silver and 0.9 grams per ton of gold within 6 meters, grading 323.8 grams per ton of silver at Santa Maria. I mean, for the rest of us at home who don't know the area and don't have intimate knowledge, before we go to the number, how good is this number? How are you guys pleasant surprised as expected? Where does it sit?
Well, no, it's a great width and super high grade. I mean, you know, when you're starting to get over 3 meters of half a kilo of silver, you know, and a half kilo of silver, you know, that's plus or minus 15 ounces. 15 ounces times what's silver today? $28?
Sure.
Not bad. But better still, you know, if you want to even slice it down further, you got over a meter of 822 grams or 26 ounces. So the whole intercept is high grade one way you look at it or you don't.
No matter which way you slice it, pardon the pun, or cut it, it's high grade.
It's high grade, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. And more importantly, this is one of the deeper cuts on this property. It's been drilled very shallow, so this hit a depth of about minus 200, 100, minus 190 to minus 200 meters vertically, and it's tied in quite well with hole number 1. Now, hole number 3 that we've finished and it's in for assay. That'll be the next hole out in a couple of weeks, George. Hole number 3 is going to hit the same structure at approximately minus 350 meters.
Is that deep for this area? For this area, or is that we know it's deep for Santa Maria, but is it deep for what typically goes on in the area?
No, gee, some our next door neighbors, you know, that their mines have been in operation since circa 1585.
Okay, we can't compete against guys who are 500, 535 years old.
Yeah. No, we're just the young fellas here, just getting going. But no, extremely well. But the big thing is that these 3 drill holes will be the first time there's ever a clear section of drilling done on this property. And not only that, is the last hole, hole 3, brings it down to over 2 times the deepest depth ever checked out before. And hence holes 4, 5, and 6, which are to the east about 100, 150 meters, those have just been completed. Actually, hole number 6, I just got a note earlier this morning, that has been completed. So that's a second ever fence of holes stepping outside of the resource. So because of the drill density and everything else, if you did a resource calculation, you would have a lot of this in the measured category. So high quality ounces. So now we're going to be able to stitch this, the behavior of this together, and it just increases your success rate. So I'm over the moon. I think it's just great.
Yeah, you came out of retirement for this. So safe to say, so far, holes 1 and 2 have not disappointed.
No, you know, and people should realize, and I'm not inferring anything. We're going to keep on hitting, but to be able to hit something over and over and over again, that's not common. It's not common. A lot of times you hit and then you miss a few or whatever. in our case, we just continue to hit over and over. So yeah, no, this is a big structure.
You mentioned holes 4, 5, 6. So obviously, you just mentioned that assays from hole 3 are going to be coming back in a couple of weeks. Should we be expecting that kind of cadence every two-ish to 2 or 3 weeks? Another hole, another hole, another hole comes out?
Uh, yes, I think what'll eventually happen, George, is this program gets going because not all holes are drilled the same length. Some are
Right.
shallower, shorter, and deeper ones are longer, et cetera, et cetera. That probably by, I'm guessing by the end of February or so, you're going to start seeing two holes overlap. That you're going to get the results at the same time because now you're kind of caught up and you got the balls really rolling.
Right.
So I think to that point in time, there'll probably be, as assays come in, we will release them, maybe hole by hole. But by the end of February, early March, there'll probably be two holes coming out at a time, I would think.
For people who don't know about this drill program, how many holes you guys plan to drill in this phase?
Well, we're planning to drill 8,000 meters, George. 4,000 meters is resource defined, if you want to call it that, of building out the resource as we're doing now. And the other 4,000 meters is pure blue sky, Hail Mary, let's see what you got on these 11 extraordinary IP anomalies, of which any one of those could be a discovery. So that's the plan to date. Um,
So nice to know that. Nice to know they have that luxury that you could do 4,000 meters into you call it resource. So you know where you have a good idea what's there. You want to better define it, and then you got 4,000 meters of, hey, we've got something solid. Let's also step out a bit here and Hail Mary before the Super Bowl.
you have to, George, because I'll tell you why. Is all in good conscience, and number one, like I said earlier, these IP anomalies are extraordinary. But you really have to evaluate all the targets on the property before you 100% focus in on one, because you know what? It may not be the Santa Maria structure that's really what we should be looking at. And I know that the IP results or the signature of the Santa Maria structure is a lot weaker than these other 11 IP anomalies. So
Wow, that's saying something because you're
yeah,
already getting pretty good results from the
yeah,
Santa Maria structure.
yeah. So we have to pay attention to those before we officially say which way, which way the bus is going to be driven, so to speak.
What's a general thesis? Again, because a lot of new people are going to be tuning in almost with every interview as Fable gets more and more, hopefully more and more success that we're anticipating. What's your general thesis for the Santa Maria project? What's the big picture, 30,000 foot for everybody at home?
The big picture is that this property will behave or contains the similar structures and vein swarms seen in the neighboring property to the north of us, which is owned by Grupo Mexico, which has produced over 500 million ounces in the last 700 years and currently is producing about 6 million ounces a year.
That's a bottomless pit. That's unbelievable to hear that.
Well, it's hard to believe that there's a wall going through the earth between us and them, and there's nothing coming across. So yeah, and the IP says it is, and the surface sampling over the IP says it is, and Santa Maria says it is. So let's see.
Based on your experience, and look, I know that your neighbor's been going on for 700 years, so we know that if things go well, they continue to grow. But let's call it phase one. How long do you think? How many meters of drilling do you think it'll take, and how long is that ballpark until you start to get a good idea about your thesis? How far in do you project where you say, okay, by this time we should have a good idea just on the Santa Maria structure alone, for example?
The Santa Maria structure, we should probably finish the drilling on that, I would guess by the end of March.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah, we'll have a very good handle on that, and we're right on time. I mean, as the results come in or the way the core is logged, we look at different things and we model that in 3D on time, so we can see it. The other 4,000 meters, that'll probably take us to the end of May, I'm guessing.
And that 4,000 will probably spawn more because, like you said, that's blue sky. So
Yeah.
you got a decent idea of what's there. You're not just popping holes in the ground.
Yeah,
with your eyes closed. But those will probably require some follow up, right, Peter? Because you'll say, okay, these ones over here are promising. Let's go deeper here.
Absolutely. And if it's really exciting and sexy, George, I would dare say that 8,000 could turn into 12,000 or 16,000. But that remains to be seen. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yep. But it's the potential is definitely there. Going back for a second to the grades. I mean, you talked about some amazing numbers, like 561 grades. You even had that 1 meter of 822 grams per ton. Sorry. How does that rank up with I guess the neighbors of the north, for example, or people around you in terms of grade for grade?
Well, what's really funny, the deposit to the north of us, the Santa Barbara and the San Francisco de Oro. Well, San Francisco de Oro says it right there. Gold in San Francisco, right? So it's gold silver, whereas Santa Barbara is more of a gold silver with base metal credits. So what we're seeing right now in the Santa Maria structure is we're seeing gold silver only high grade. So it's behaving more like the San Francisco de Oro type of temperature metal or structure, or
right.
Whatever. And these things can grow very fast. And you've heard me talk about structure and smashing things together and all these other great things. But by us doing this IP and looking at these things, the IP, it's a 3-dimensional model down to 500 meters. I mean, it's I can rotate. I can rotate it around, look at this and look at that and everything else. So when the time comes to drill a hole or anything else, I know exactly where this hole is going. Meter by meter at depth. So if that anomaly gives you a response or a metal factor of interest, what the rest of the anomaly looks like. Like you could do a volumetric calculation off of that in 2 seconds, right? So it's a game changer, one of these things.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I mean, these are great. Can't wait for hole number 3. What do you think of the recent advent of silver squeeze? You've got to be watching that with some interest.
I thought that was quite interesting. No, it'll never happen because the bullion reserves of I don't know how many billions of ounces of silver are there. If people actually want a great read, you could probably go on to Kohl's Notes or Kohl's or one of these stores, and if you look up the Hunt brothers, and the Hunt brothers were Texas oil billionaires that decided to put a squeeze on the silver market way back when. And it's just an amazing read, and it'll show you one of the reasons why it can't be done. But you can certainly ride it for a while, but you'll never accomplish it.
The great thing about Fabled, though, is here in this range of $25 to $30 silver, you guys are just fine.
Oh, great is king. I mean, great is king. And the last resort on it, George reported 335 grams of silver on the resource, and most people are looking for 100 grams per ton or 120 grams per ton on a resource. So, this is at least 3 times over average. So, very happy about this.
And I'm going to put you on the spot now, on the record. I'm going to ask you. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you. Who's winning the Super Bowl this weekend? Tampa Bay or Kansas City?
Oh, I'm going to go for Kansas.
All right. I'll take Tampa. All right. So we'll see who this will be an indication of your prowess as a precious metals explorer, Peter. This pick on the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, George. I have a silver coin here, and we'll see. I'll bet you a silver coin.
All right. Once I don't have one, but I'll go buy one.
Okay, sounds good.
How's that? Okay. So, by the way, how much? Wait, hold on. What kind of silver coin do you have? Is that like a $5,000? So we know. I know what I'm playing for here. I don't want you to show me another silver coin and say, "Hey, George, this is the silver coin I was talking about."
I'll tell you what it is. It's the inauguration silver coin. I have a few extra from the first mine we put into production in Mexico. So I'll give you one of those.
That's in fact. No, I wouldn't take that from you. How about we just have a great dinner in Mexico one night?
Okay, we'll
I
have.
would. I mean, that's too precious at the end. Unless you have a whole bunch of them.
Well, you know, George, I'm Scottish, so I'll end up taking you down to the local corner for dirty tacos or something.
Hey, it's the fun that counts. So you got KC, I got Tampa, but more importantly, congratulations on this second hole. Great to see that it's fair to say, Peter, again, it surpassed expectations, even for you who came out of retirement for the whole Santa Maria project, because you saw something a lot of other people weren't seeing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I can't wait. Every hole just tell another story. So no, great. Absolutely.
For everyone at home, that's a story in hole 2. Hole 3 sounds like it's going to be out in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. So we're going to have Peter back by then for sure. But in the meantime, for those who are new to the story, do some due diligence. Get over to Gorecom. Take a look at the Fabled Silver Gold hub. Go to the profile section, because we know there's a lot of information, and especially for a lot of small cap resource investors who don't understand everything. And I'm part of that, right? There's a lot to consume here. We've got it neatly laid out for you so you can understand. And then from there, hop over to Peter's website to do some more due diligence, because Peter's come out of retirement for it. He's had a long history of success in Mexico. It looks like they're already starting off on the right foot here. Can't say anything, any projects or predictions about the future, but they're off to the right start, and there's more to come. So make sure you do due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.